Hello, friends. Welcome to the Epic Alchemy Podcast, episode 25. I'm your host, Jill Davenport. And today I want to talk about working with limitations, working through limitations, but mostly working while you have limitations, which we all have limitations, but sometimes we have more limitations than other times, and sometimes we have more limitations than other people. And that is what I planned to talk about several weeks ago. It's been a few weeks. And so a few weeks ago, I announced that I was changing the name of my program to Simply Unstoppable. And if you, I don't know if you're like me or not, if you have a service business, if you offer things to people that you help them with, what happens to me often is when I name something that I help people with, I am soon after presented with my blocks around this thing. Super fun. And also, I guess it's helpful because I actually am going, it's probably part of me being an empath and just going through the processes, going through the struggles that my clients go through so that I can understand them better. When I was a massage therapist, when I first started doing massage, people would come to me with different issues and I would take it on in my body, which was really not a good practice, but I would feel that. I learned to be able to figure out where it is in my body and like map it out without taking it on because I would go, okay, what's that like? And I would take it on and then I would start to have the issue. Um, that's not good. But then I learned to just kind of map it out in my body. Now, whenever I whenever I say I do different things, like throughout my whole coaching journey, I have been doing, it's just when I name the thing. So I was a health coach and then I was like, "Oh gosh, I'm not doing this." And it's like always these blocks come up around it. So this was a block that came up and it adds extra depth to it because I'm like unstoppable. And now I'm going through this thing that I'm going to tell you about. And I'm like getting all the mind drama about this said, simply unstoppable. And side note, unstoppable doesn't mean you never rest and you never stop to take care of yourself. That is definitely not how you be unstoppable, because we do have to rest and take care of ourselves when we need it. Had planned to do this. I had already mapped out my posts for social media. I had already planned this podcast that I was going to do talking about how to make it easier, lighter to work around when you have limitations to your physical abilities, to your mental abilities, to your time, to your energy, all of that. And what happened soon after that was I developed carpal tunnel syndrome. And I did not understand how 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 this worked because I used to work on people. Sometimes they come in with carpal tunnel. It wasn't people I got a whole lot when I was a massage therapist, but I did not understand the depth of this issue, and it's been crazy because it's very painful. I can't sleep very well because it wakes me up because my hand is throbbing. It's also numb. It's weird. It's like it hurts and it's numb and it's like pins and needles. So it feels like it's not getting circulation. But and then when I move it, yeah, it's a really weird sensation, really weird feeling. And it's on my left hand. I'm left handed. And it's actually like quite frightening because it's like, oh my gosh, in my hand, like, am I going to lose feeling in my hand forever? Anyway, it's been like over, I don't know, it's been several weeks of this. I've been to the doctor, I've been to chiropractor, and now I've started going to an acupuncturist, and it's actually getting better. So I'm getting better. So don't worry about me. It's actually like starting to get better, but it's it's been a journey, and it's really weird when it's like when there's some pain going on that's very like consuming, it's very difficult to think about work and marketing, and I felt this disconnection. So I got to really experience that. And so I could really show up in this podcast authentically because I do help clients who have chronic conditions like chronic pain, energy condition, like not just pain, but like energy conditions. They don't have the capacity to do what they expect to be, would be like quote unquote normal for them to have. And then there's other things like time limitations with work or whatever, and they want to do things. So it's like there's always limitations that can come up. And what I help with is to help them deal with the mind and the emotions around that so that it doesn't take longer because oftentimes there's this layer of guilt, shame, frustration that comes with not being able to perform at the level that you think you should or that you expect to or that like other people are or whatever. And so that's what I wanted to that's what I plan to talk about today, and this is what I want to share with you if you are dealing with something like this, which I think a lot of people will come up with something like this. If it isn't something that you just carry with you for life, it's something that might come up in a season. So the expectations that you have a certain amount of time to do things and that like you set out to do something 5 days a week or whatever, but maybe sometimes you can't do 5 days a week, and maybe sometimes it's a surprise that you can't do 5 days a week because you said, okay, I'm going to do this, do this thing 5 days a week, and then you have days that you are not able to function those days. They could be like sick days too. I mean, it's like getting sick or whatever. Sometimes people don't handle getting sick very well, but there can be other things that aren't like as visible as being sick, but that prevents you from showing up at the level that you want to and that you feel like you need to get where you want to go. So when we have those things that come up, then there's often this feeling of frustration, guilt, shame that goes along with it. Like I should be able to do this, and I'm so frustrated that I can't, and all of that. But what that does is it just adds an extra load. It adds a load of mental energy. It adds a load of stress that isn't part of the thing. That thing is already enough. But then adding the mental, emotional pressure and load to it actually like makes it worse. It could make it worse the by just the feeling that you're having, the thoughts that you're having, that it's like taking up so much of your thought space. But it could also make it worse because depending on what it is, it can make things last longer. So if you're feeling stressed and you need to relax in order to heal or in order to think clearly or whatever it is, then carrying this extra stress with you is not helpful. Now, easier said than done how to get rid of it. Because it's like, oh, I'd like to not have this, but then it's still like in the back of your mind, like the realistic critic, like, yeah, yeah, I know I should just let it go. But the reality is that, I need to do this many things in this week in order to accomplish this. And you might have deadlines. There might be like real deadlines that you have to do. Oftentimes you have to deliver on, and sometimes you might have to push through it. And that's case by case. If you can let go of the pressure around it. So, say you have something that you want to do 5 days a week, and you are not able to do them for 2 or 3 of those days. Instead of saying, I missed 2 to 3 days, reframing it with that those days are write-offs. Those days did not exist. They are not part of your programs. You're not 3 days behind if you can have a schedule like that. If you're moving a project of your own ahead, then just saying, okay, those days don't count, and taking the pressure off that those were supposed to be days that were counting towards that. Because when you do that, then it's like, okay, we can let that load go. So I only have to do things on the days that I am able to do things. I only get to do things on the days that I'm able to do things, because often what I've found and what I've found personally is that the weight and the guilt and the shame about not doing the things becomes heavier than the actual thing sometimes. So, than the actual like thing that is keeping you from doing it. So, this is what happened with me. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I knew that I had a pain condition, and I was like, I already set this stuff up, and I'm just watching as I am not putting my content out, and I'm feeling bad about it. And it was became this sort of like a mini dark night of the soul. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. But I was like, I can't get myself to do it. I felt so stuck. It was like, I need to help myself out of this. And I was like, I'm just like watching myself. It became almost like an out of body experience. Like, I want to do this thing, but I cannot physically, mentally get myself to do it. It was such a block. And I recognized that. Like, I was like, I know that there's some subconscious block here that's blocking me because I've just been feeling so bad about this, but I can't just pick up and come in there and be like, "Okay, I'm back." So, I decided that I was going to be my own client. So like, this is exactly what I help people with, and I cannot get myself to do it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be my own client. And I did some of my exercises, some of my practices that I take people through yesterday. And let me tell you, I had planned to do it for yesterday. I was like really committed to it, but I had planned to do it for several days before that. And I just could not get myself to do it. It was like anything else I'll do except for that. And that's when you know it's a subconscious block. So I did this exercise yesterday. I took myself through this whole practice. And at the end of the day, because I was to put it off, I found a bunch of other things that I could do before I got to that. And it was profound. I had such a huge shift and such a realization about all of these thoughts that had been playing under under my conscious level, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's the thing." So, I was doing this thought work where I go through this series of questions and then like intuitively picking out like what's the strongest one for me, and where do I feel it in my body, and then taking that through this other question process, and then yeah, I was like, "Wow, I can't believe I was thinking that because it was subconscious," but it's like this gets to the root of the subconscious beliefs, and then it negotiates with the subconscious so that we can, hear it out and and then, like, see if it's willing to accept a new thought, and it was. I mean, it usually is. You just have to, like, present it in a way that's like, "Oh, yeah, of course, this makes sense," and I was like, "Wow, that took not that long." At the end of this process, I was just sitting in the chair, and then the sun had like dipped right into the window that was shining on me. And it's like this, I was closing my eyes and like feeling it in my body. And then the sun just came in and it shone right on my face, like right when I was finished. It was so amazing. It was such a like profound, this like spiritual experience. So it was like just everything opened up. And I feel so much lighter now, and I'm like, wow, I feel more connected to my purpose. And I had kind of felt disconnected from that for a while, even though I didn't really realize it. I was just kind of, I mean, I was dialed in, and even when I was like showing up a lot, I still didn't feel this like real connection with it. And now I do. And I wanted to share that with you because like sometimes yeah, like, you can be feeling really disconnected, you can be feeling really lost, really, um, like you can't get yourself to do things, or you feel really bad about that you're not able to do things, and it can shift so quickly. And also, the way that it's all energy. This is something I believe to my core is like, it's all energy. Everything is energy, and that the way we show up with our energy, it it is so important. And not that you have to always be feeling great to show up and like get the results you want, but the way that your energy is the way that you show up, that you can get completely different results by doing the exact same thing and having a different energy about it. You can have the same exact thing that you need to do, and if your energy is different around it, then you can actually do it or not do it depending on what your energy is around it. And the way that we and I was sitting there going, I need to change my energy. I need to change my energy. And I was like, I don't know how to change my energy. I do know how to change my energy, but I just was like locked into this subconscious block that I wasn't able to get myself to do it. And I finally broke free yesterday, and it was so quick. And also, our energy is created a lot of by our feelings, but those are created by our thoughts. So by changing our thoughts, and that's not there's a whole chain of events because there's this sort of like um circular effect of, of course we can have like a physical dip in energy. You can be feeling like crap and be physically not feeling well, and that is not created by your thoughts. It could be, but it's mostly, like it could be like a physical um thing that you're carrying around or that you have, and that of course is going to maybe affect your thoughts, and that is maybe going to, and then that's going to affect your feelings or whatever, so vice versa. So you have to find like the way in, but it is all the energy. So you can be showing up, being visible, and feeling like you don't want to do it, or like it's not going to work, or like you have all these things to do, and not believing that it's actually going to do anything, or feeling like like it didn't work before or whatever, then that's going to create a different energy. You're going to either show up with the energy of like, I don't know if this is going to work, or just like putting too much pressure on it, trying like overperforming, or like feeling like a phony because you don't actually believe that what you're putting out is important or resonating with people, or you won't do it because you have all this stuff that might actually work, that I might actually connect with people, but you won't do it because your energy behind it, your thoughts behind it are that it's not going to work. And so it's really interesting. So I wanted to share that with you, that if you're feeling limitations, if you're feeling like you're not going as fast as you want to be going, you're not doing as much as you want to be doing, if you can dial back the expectation or lighten the load of the pressure, then that is going to make a lot of difference. And you can actually be more productive on the days when you do have energy, or at the times when you can do things, because you're not carrying the heaviness of the time when you couldn't do it. You're not bringing that with you. You're clear, you're light, you're in the moment, you're in the present, and you're able to perform maybe at a higher level. You're definitely at a higher level than if you're carrying the baggage of feeling like bad about yourself, because oftentimes we turn that frustration and that the guilt and the shame onto ourselves and make it about us, when it's like really it's the circumstance. And if we can change our thoughts around that, then we'll be free to feel a different way, and then we will be able to show up with full, clear, light energy when we are able to, and when we have the time and all of that. I hope this helps you. If you have any time when you're limited, or any time when you're incapacitated, or anything like that, I get it. And if you are feeling stuck and you're like, I can't get myself to do this thing, I can't get myself to do what I want to do, and I'm just watching myself not do it, and I know what to do, but I'm not doing, or I don't believe it's going to work, and I'm not doing it. Like if you buy a course, or if you keep buying courses, and then you end up in the same situation, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I just bought another course and I am not doing it. And I am still, here I am back in square one with where I was, and I just can't get myself to figure it out and to do it. Even though you have all the steps, you have all the things, this is what I help with. This is the part that I help with: getting unblocked and getting moving. And yeah, it can happen so quickly, and keep going and keep building on that. And resting when you need to, because we all need rest and we all need time to process and all of that. So, wishing you health, happiness, light, and everything in this crazy world, this crazy world, because we will pile that stuff on too. If you're anything like me, it's like, okay, piling on everything that I'm thinking and feeling about myself and the world. And yeah, just Sending lots of love and light to you today, and I will see you next time.